Welcome to Wonder Women Who Build, the podcast where women lead boldly, build businesses that last, and forge relationships that truly matter. I'm your host, Carrie Moreau, business owner, relationship builder, proud roofing Wonder Woman, and someone who believes that success starts with a solid foundation in business and in life. Whether you're growing a company, leading a team, or just figuring out what's next, this space is for you. So thank you for hitting play. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm sitting down with someone I admire deeply, both for how she thinks and how she leads. Carina de la Torre is an estate planning attorney, wife, and mom of twins, co-founder of Tower Law Group here in Oviedo, Florida, and, a fun fact, a former powerlifter. That's right, you heard me. She leads with integrity, listens intently, and holds space in a way that makes people feel seen. Her firm, which she runs alongside her sister, has grown to a team of 14 and recently moved into their own building. She's quietly powerful, fiercely loyal, and one of the most grounded people I know. Let's dive into her story. Thank you so much for being here.
It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. So before we get started, we always begin with our win of the week. Would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
So this week was exciting, and I am so pleased to be part now of the Chamber of Commerce. I have been asked to be on the chamber board for the Oviedo Winter Springs Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really excited because I think it's going to be a great, fun way to help grow the area and all the businesses that are in it and get to know people. And I think it's going to be great.
I think so too. You're going to be a great addition. I'm
Thank
excited to see what we're going to do together because I'm there, I'm there too. So I'm excited.
It's going to be a powerhouse. It's going to be so much fun.
Look out. My win of the week was actually from a chamber event yesterday. I got to speak at the Women's Inspiration Luncheon, and just a few women approached me and told me the positive impact listening to the podcast has had, and they were even telling me things that inspired them and re-quoting some things I had said that, I had kind of forgotten. And so it just really touched my heart, to know that, number one, there's listeners, but it's not just, my best friend listening, but that it's, people that I don't spend a lot of time with and then also they told me they're sharing it with people and how it's impacting them too. So it was a great day. It was so fun.
Fun event, and just to be able to hear the second, third, fourth order effects of words that are coming out of your mouth and messages that you provide, it can be really, really inspiring and really energizing. Say, I want to do more of this because I want to have that effect on people. It's that multiplication effect.
Yeah, it's what I want to do when I grow up. I just want to do this all the time. Speak to women, do podcast. I'm figuring it out. This is my, I guess, my job interview I come to when we come into the studio. All right, so we can get into the episode with Carina. And, I always have my phone in front of me so I can stay on track because I get distracted. The ladies that I bring on, sometimes I get distracted because I'm like, I think about something that pops in my head. And I might do that. So I'm going to do my best to stay on the questions that I gave you. But
the rabbit holes are the fun part.
Yeah, one might pop up. But I do want to start with the part I mentioned about powerlifting because when I first learned that about you, I don't remember exactly how the conversation led to that because I'm sure you're not you don't begin with that.
No, I don't lead my conversations
with
that.
Like, hey, let me tell you what I used to do and how strong I am. But we were chatting and it just naturally went and you were like, yeah, well, I used to. And you said it kind of like a nonchalant. And then you said a few other things after. And I was like, wait. Let's rewind. Wait, what? No. Tell me more. Explain it fully to me because I think this is what you're saying to me. I'm like, with the belt and the really heavy weights. And you're like, yes. And I was like, I need to know more. So tell me about that part of your life. What led you to that? Just everything that you can think of around it. Share it with us.
So it started with sciatica. It started with sciatica after I had my twins. So had twins. It was a very tough pregnancy. I was on bed rest for 8 weeks. They came 8 weeks early, so they were 33 weekers. They were in the NICU for a month, very healthy. We were very blessed because they were what they call feeders and growers. So they just needed a little bit of extra time, and they were fine. But my back was really messed up after that. So then I would just have that shooting pain down the left side. And I went to physical therapy, and they said, well, this is because the rest of you is weak, and you're overstressing your back. So finish physical therapy, and they said, off into the world you go exercise. And I said, okay, well. So I just went to the gym, and I said, okay, I know what I need to do, and I'm just going to go into it without any preconceived notion of what I can lift. Just, well, let's go see what we can lift, and next week let's add a little bit more, and then let's add a little bit more, and then I realized I'm lifting quite a bit here, and so I found a coach and said, well, I think I may have a sport that I'm pretty good at, which is picking things up and putting them back down again, not to put too fine a point on it. And then one thing led to the other, and then just continue to progress. And again, without any mental limitation of, oh, this is how much I think I can lift. It was go until you can't lift. Train to fail. Train to failure, as it is. And doing that, I eventually got to the point where one competition, one meet.
Wait, you started competing. You kind of fast forwarded past that part.
Oh. Well,
you were basically like, I started working out to heal my back, and then you fast forwarded to competition.
Well, I said, well, let's just give it a try.
So how long was that journey from the injury to when you were like, your coach said, it's time, like, let's go compete, right?
Probably about a year and a half.
Encouraged you to compete? Was the coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably about a year and a half, and I said, okay, well, I've never done this before. We'll just try something new, see how it goes. And it went great. And it was actually, the competing was very inspirational because there are women of all ages, shapes, and sizes taking that platform and doing their lifting. And I saw women who were in their 70s, because they break you up by age class and weight class. But I saw women who were in their 70s on that platform lifting. And I said, oh, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be strong and mobile and flexible. And I said, that's a ticket right there. So I want to be 70 years old on that platform lifting. And then at one point the record's been broken, but I had the record for the deadlift in the state of Florida. So probably had it for a whole 5 minutes, but I did have it at one point. And so that was 363 pounds at that point.
Incredible.
And I had never actually lifted that weight before. So that was the first time we did it was at competition. And my coach was like, you want to try it? I'm like, worst thing that happens is that I don't budget and it stays on the ground. So sure, let's do it. And it went. And
Amazing.
And my kids were there to watch that, so that was fun too. My husband and my kids.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So they were how old when you were competing?
I think they were probably like 9.
Wow.
It was probably a couple of years ago that we did that. And maybe actually closer to 3 years ago. So they were probably about 9. And so they weren't totally sure why they were there, but when they would see mom on the platform, they're like, go mom. So it was a joy. It was a lot of fun. I need to get back to it.
How much time would you spend training to be able to lift that heavy?
It was probably...
Is it like also the diet? Like, is it everything? Is it all encompassing? Because I don't know anything about that sport.
On the lifting side, it was probably 4 times a week. The workouts, even though I was trying to squeeze them in, which is why I had to kind of step away for a little bit as the business just really took off, because the workouts were 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was a lot of time to try to squeeze in between kids, family, business, clients. And so eventually, as I open up more space, I will pull that in. Maybe not the competition level, because that's an additional layer of stress of, what am I training for? Can I make those goals? But the lifting side of it, it's very good for my mental health. It's just because I live a lot in my brain. And so to just have this thing in front of me I'm going to put laser-like focus on that, and that's the only thing that I'm in charge of doing at that time, it's good for me. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with us. And it also, doing that when they were little, like so small, and I'm imagining just all the layers of discipline that you had during that time of, training. How does that translate, or how did that help you into building Tower Law Group?
I think it helps with the focus and not getting overwhelmed, because if I thought of just a meet or a competition and I just thought of it in kind of the aggregate, sometimes you just wouldn't even want to take the first step. But if you break it down to, well, this is the next thing I'm going to lift. I'm just going to do this one piece right here, and you focus on that, and then you complete that. Then you can do the next thing. And so in another way, it's kind of like Atomic Habits, or that book, Atomic Habits, where you do the small thing, and then it builds to the next thing, and then you look back and like, oh, I did the whole thing, but I didn't. I did it in small little chunks so that I didn't get overwhelmed and not start at all.
Right.
So I think being able to break it down like that made it easier. And that is something that, if you think about running a business, running a multi-million-dollar business, handling families, conflict, things, if you think about it in the aggregate, you can't do it. You can only think about the one person who's in front of you and the one person that you can help at a time.
Yeah,
And so,
I mean, it's so big because so many women get overwhelmed. I mean, I think that, at least I did. So I assume that other women are going through that. Like, I don't think I've ever sat down with a woman. She was like, oh, yeah, I started my business and it was so easy and everything just fell into place.
wildest roller coaster I've ever been on.
Yeah, like I have a friend that's opening a coffee shop, and every time I check in with her to see how it's going, she's just, the things that are coming at her that she's never experienced before. And so I like that how you reference, like, you just cannot, like, so don't try. Break it down and take it one step at a time, and then it's absolutely 100% possible. One of the things I'll say to myself is, this is really hard, and I'll get like up against some obstacle in front of me, and then I'll be like, wait, so many people have done this before.
Yes.
So I just need to connect with the right person, or have the right conversation, or read the right thing, get the right mindset, and then there's an answer. I just don't know what it is, you know?
The phrase that I use is, everything is figure-outable.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah, it's true. It totally is figure-outable. Didn't want to race past that because I mispronounce stuff all the time. So we have something in common in that we work with family, very closely with family. I work with my brother. You work with your sister. So you guys founded it together. And I know that's not always easy, but what's your rhythm like working with her?
I'm curious, too, if you get asked all the time about, how do you work with your sibling?
I do, and it's because they imagine their own relationship with, I think, at least this is what I think, that they're in their imagination, they're thinking of their siblings, and like, there's no way I would be able to, because of how their relationship is. And so I'm like, it's great. You know, like, I try to can it really small and not to diminish. And I'm like, I said, so why are you curious about that? And then they'll tell me like the drama, or like, you know, history. And so, yeah.
I think the foundation, it's almost like a marriage. Your foundation has to be this level of absolute loyalty and trust, and they have to be your ride or die. If you don't have or build from that base, then I don't know that it can work. I don't know that any real partnership can work. You really have to have that foundation, and if you have that, then it's also like a relationship where you have to have your build together time, and then you have your kind of separate time to focus on what you guys do best. Because if you're micromanaging each other, it's not going to work. I mean, well, no relationship can survive constant micromanaging. So you have to be able to give space, but then also build together. So she has her specialties that very much complement mine, and then I do what I do, and she does what she does, and we collaborate together on how do we grow the business forward.
Right.
And so we make the business decisions together, but don't micromanage each other in the day-to-day. And I think that, you know, we've had our firm now, I guess next year will be 16 years. And so, yeah.
Congratulations.
I know, I just blinked and it's been 16 years. But I think it's having both spaces, the collaborative space and then the separate space to breathe.
But I love that, just the fact that you said to me 16 years, because people see you now, or at least I do. I see you now. I don't know how many years it's been. I mean, if I go to your website, I'm sure the date's there, right? And I would be like, oh, it's been this long. But like, interacting with you and networking and the different ways that our, you know, businesses cross, like you did all the estate planning for us and those things. But you know, I wouldn't have known. Like, I see your success now, and I don't know what it took to get there. But it makes a lot of sense. 16 years, like. You've had that discipline, that dedication. You guys have worked out a lot. I'm sure there was some things in the beginning of figuring out what was the specialties and what was the best way for you guys to work together. Or at least I'm assuming that, you know.
It is a constant process of course correction and adjustments and trying new things, and that didn't work, and let's pivot. And it's been a wild ride. And so we've been across states. We've had I've had my twins. We've changed and adjusted practice areas, how we do things. It's been a constant set of changing and adapting and just being able to be with somebody who's walking down that path with you. I think in many ways, people would benefit so much more if they had someone, if they weren't trying to do it alone.
Yes.
If they had someone to build it with them, it makes it more fun, more meaningful, and just it's easier to solve all these problems that come up. Because man, you're going to encounter a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
So many things that need solutions, and if you're just trying to do it all in your own strength, you're not going to make it.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do, but it's tough. It's really, really tough. I mean, there's a few entrepreneurs I know that are almost one-man shows or one-woman shows, right? And just to have someone to celebrate your wins or talk about a hard day, and some of them are married, some of them aren't, but then, not even their spouses, like maybe their spouses work corporate or, they're not self-employed. So they say that, they just don't get it. Like there's a lot of things I'm going through that they don't understand because they're not in it with me. They're watching from the sidelines. I try to explain. And so that's what, why Wonder Women Who Build, I think is so invaluable is because we hear these stories, we hear these journeys, and we know that it's not, you're not on an island, you're not the only one experiencing it, like we can see ourselves in the stories that people are telling us.
Business owners need a community. They need a tribe, they need a community. Even if they're not in the same profession or business or industry, they need other people who are kind of going through that as well, because it's a very different headspace and mindset that's going to be required to do it. And I think surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded is critical to success.
It really is, yeah. What was your childhood relationship like with her?
Well, I'm the big sister, and I'm older by 2.5 years.
Are you the oldest child?
It's just the two of us.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest, and we've always been very close, but we bickered a lot, especially in high school. You got a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old girl, and they're going to argue about things, But all the big things, there was never any question about the big stuff. And we've always been very close, very tight. And after college and then law school, we just became even better friends. And we're really, she's basically my best friend.
That's amazing.
And so I'm really fortunate on that. And so, I could not imagine doing this.
Yeah, my brother and I say that to each other quite frequently. I'm like, this doesn't work without you. And he's like, this doesn't work without you. And he's a words of affirmation person. And so he will speak so highly of me. And then I do my best to remember to speak it out loud because I do affirm people, but he does it in a way that really makes me feel seen. And so, and sometimes I'm like a little embarrassed, because I'm like, am I living up to like what he thinks of me? But to be in business with someone that does think so highly and is always assuming the good, because you hear about partnerships in business, and I think that resentment over little things or feeling like someone's not carrying the weight enough or whatever. There has been times where, like work is like challenging, like dealing with a difficult client, and I'll have one of my staff members say, "Where's Derek today?" Because they want him to deal with an issue. But knowing that no matter where he is, like I know that he's just a phone call away. Like he's in the field or he's doing something else. But like the reliability is never going to be in question. Like his integrity is never going to be in question. Like all of those things are solid, and so we can navigate whatever little thing pops up. But it's funny because our story of our childhood is that we've actually never had an argument. We've never bickered. We've never argued. We've never slapped each other in the backseat of the station wagon. Like we've never done any of those things.
Well, you guys missed out. No,
I know, right? Like we should start doing that, I guess, like the Three Stooges or something. But like I think it's the age difference because we're a little bit further apart. We're 4.5, almost 5 years. So, he's entering high school, I'm graduated, or like I'm done with college and he's just starting, or just those different phases, even when he was little, like he's 5, I'm 10. I don't know. Like I was like, I think I've heard him say to somebody else that him growing up, he looked at me more like a mom, like a big sister mom. But I do remember this one time, I'll share this little story, that my mom would take us out to buy gifts for each other for Christmas. And so I was at the stage where I was like really caring about like self-care and like, spending a lot of time in the bathroom with my hair or makeup or whatever. and he bought me a nail set kit. Like, he picked it out, and I remember it was such a big deal. I think he was around like 9 or 10 years old. And when I opened it, he was like, see, and when you, because he was like, you paint your nails, you don't have to wait. You can paint them. And then he was telling me, he's like, then you're going to put it in the dryer, the little dryer thing. It was like a tabletop type of situation. And it was like the little dryer was like in the shape of a heart. It was like my favorite color. And then he had got me some polishes to go with it. Like, and that's just who he's always been. Like, he sees things that I care about, and then he's like in it too, like supportive of it. So yeah, I just thought that popped in my head. I just thought I'd record it for,
Posterity.
Yes.
That's what I want for my kids, because I have boy-girl twins.
Oh, really?
And so that is what I want. I want them, if I could pick a future for them, a timeline, that is it. That is where they stay that close like that forever. And so,
Yeah. And so people are like, are you guys the only two? We have a sister between us. And they're like, oh, well, what's that like? I'm like, oh yeah, we both fought with her. Like,
So there was some smacking in the back of the station wagon.
Because she was in the middle. Like, yeah, we did. But we have all we're all, we have great relationships now. But I'm like, yeah, we had enough, we fought with her. So we did do that as kids. It wasn't like, this perfect, like, butterfly and, birds chirping in the background. So one of your taglines that you mention when we're out, I hear you saying this when we're out networking, is keeping family out of court and away from conflict. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
So when things get tough, how do you work through conflict and still protect the relationship with your sister? And what is her name? Because we haven't mentioned Adriana. So, when you guys are having a tough whatever, which we already have talked about how it's there, it's happening, how do you work through that conflict and still protect your relationship?
I think you have to start knowing that the other person's intentions for you are good. So it's going to change how you communicate. If you know this person loves me and I love this person and we're going to find this solution together, and then it sets the tone for the communications, which is we're going to operate out of complete honesty, complete authenticity, and we're going to be solutions oriented. And it can't be about blame. It can't be about evading and personal responsibility. In fact, being able to take personal responsibility for everything is key to that. But if you're not operating at that and it's hard to operate from that raw level of honesty and authenticity, because you have to make yourself vulnerable as part of it. You can't be throwing up shields to protect yourself to do that.
It's true.
So if you can break it down to that level of communication and stay committed to talking to each other in the right way and communicating, then it's going to be fine.
Is this something that your parents instilled in the two of you?
Yes.
The way you want to instill it with your twins? I mean, with your children? Like, was it?
No, it definitely was, because I saw how they communicated. Now, my mom is also an attorney, or she was an attorney. So she was a federal judge for 30 years before she retired. And so we have also gone into the practice of law. There's a good chance my daughter will end up in the practice of law. So but it teaches you a lot about communication and just trying to be accurate and honest and simple and break it down to like the smallest unit. So I saw how they interacted, and the way they communicated was always in a manner of love and truth-seeking. And if you do it with that intention and you kind of cast aside ego, then you can arrive at the truth much faster and solve the problem much faster. So we learned it watching from them.
Wow, that's amazing. I was writing an article the other day for a magazine, and I was wanting to give it a hometown feel. Like, what are the core values of like our business and what makes us special? Like we all want to be special, right? So what makes Certified Best Roofing special? And as I was writing it, one of the things that came to mind was like, wow, him and I both have, my brother's name is Derek. Derek and I both have this sense of do the right thing even when no one is looking. Like high integrity really matters to us. And we've had that pop up we're in construction. Like the one thing I do see in other companies sometimes is that they're doing their best, but then when it comes to a problem, and it's going to be a money situation, like cost money or time, that integrity will wane. And I've seen this happen. And so, but every time we have a problem that could be like we've installed the wrong product and we're going to have to make it right, so it's going to cost us, like our integrity, we come from the same place of do the right thing even when no one is looking. So when I was writing the article, I turned to him and I wanted him to read it when I was done. Or I was actually, I'm sorry, I was in the middle of it. And I turned to him and he walked by. I'm like, hey, where do you think we got that? Because with us, our parents did not. Like that wasn't their thing. They were different people when no one was looking. So we had one way we showed up in public and one way we weren't at home. And so I was like, where do you think we got that? Because we both have it so strongly that I was like, where do you think it came from? And he was like, I don't know. So he like took a chair and he sat across the table from me. And I was like, do you think it's from this? Do you think it's from that? Like going through stories and things that we've faced, in our lives, like, because it is so strongly rooted in both of our personalities. And so we went through it a little bit, and then we decided it was our grandparents that gave us that. And they were always, no matter what they were facing or who was around them. And we spent a lot of time with our grandparents. They lived in another state, but we would travel and spend our whole summers there. If there was any type of vacation, we were there with them the whole entire time. So like Christmas break, all spring break, summer, the whole entire summertime. It was like the school would end and we were there. I don't know how fast we got there. It was like we were teleported and then school was starting and we were home. Like that, it was the whole entire time. And so he's like, yeah, I think so. Like, I think that's where it came from. But it was really hard for us to pinpoint. But I love that, someone passed it to us so that we can continue to pass it on. But I love that, how you can identify so quickly and that you want to do that same thing for your kids. And it's going to happen for the next ones too, like your kids' kids, and then it's going to keep going because it matters. Like, and, your parents also, like, I think that I knew that your mom was a judge, but now as you're telling it to me and I'm having this quiet space to listen, I'm like, wow, so your mom was an immigrant from Cuba and came here with all the challenges of that transition and practiced law and then was a judge for 30 years. I'm like, I need like the dead emoji. I'm like, oh my gosh, your mom, where is she? Have I met her? I want to meet her. Dang, girl.
She's everybody's favorite.
Shoot.
No, I mean, if I stop to think about...
I know, sorry, I was like, I usually do physical comedy, but it's a lot.
It is. It's a lot.
I'm like, when you break that down, and I'm like, I'm sitting here struggling over like, what am I struggling over? Like...
Funny that you mentioned that because that's what I grew up with, which is, it's basically, any challenge that I'm facing is like, mom and dad had it tougher. This is going to be fine. We can do this. My parents left Cuba in the early 60s when Castro came to power and the communist revolution took over Cuba. And they left.
That was when everyone was afraid. Bunkers, they thought they were going to have a nuclear war. The first one was very real.
It was a very, very difficult time. And they both came from very, well-to-do families in Cuba. And in basically overnight, lost everything. And so my parents, both of them, came to the U.S. through what was called the Peter Pan program, which was a joint operation between the U.S. Department of State and the Catholic Church, so that people in Cuba could send their children out to the United States, basically as political refugees, so that they would not be indoctrinated into communist education. And so my dad was 8 and my mom was 13 when they left Cuba.
Did they know each other?
No, they didn't know each other. And then their parents had to stay behind. They weren't allowed to leave. So my dad had an aunt in Miami who was able to be with him, receive him and be with him until he could be reunited with his mom. My mom didn't. So she had to go live in a convent in Arizona for 6 months until my grandparents could flee the Castro regime and come collect her and be with her. So it just blows my mind because my kids are 12. The idea of having to send them out on a plane, not knowing if you're going to see them again.
Yeah.
When you compare it to that, everything else is doable,
You can't
figure
cry
outable.
and drink water. It's a thing. So yeah, that's why it's
Let's
here.
do that.
No, I learned that trick a while back.
So it's when you look at that, then and you
Yeah.
think everything else is doable. Like you got your family, everything else is figure outable.
Yeah. I'm glad that you were vulnerable and showed emotion, though, because that wouldn't have been right if you didn't. I personally couldn't imagine, putting boys, think they're a little bit, we just assume culturally they're a little bit more resilient.
Yeah.
But putting our daughter on a plane and not knowing when or if we were going to see them again. And, I guess there was a little bit of assurance that it was a Catholic charity and but we know all about that too, like there wasn't, people are people and they do terrible things. And so, gosh, how stressful. Yeah.
But after came here, started that new life, worked incredibly hard. And then she actually got to the point in her career where she took one of her cases, a First Amendment case, to the United States Supreme Court.
Wow.
And she says that she remembers being like on the steps of the courthouse thinking, what is a little Cuban refugee doing here?
Right.
Having an argument and being able to present this issue, which she ultimately won 8-1. And it's actually in my constitutional law textbook when I was in law school. I was like, that's my mom's case. So, she
incredible.
Provides an incredible example for us.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm sure when you were a teenager.
Well, there are very few excuses in our household.
When you were a teenager, it was like, my mom.
It was one of those, the appreciation for it comes with time.
Of course.
But you look at that, and that's why when the message that we give to the kids, the message that we carry each other is like, don't be afraid. But if you're afraid, do it anyway.
Yes.
Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
You're anxious? Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
You're scared? Do it anyway. You don't have the answers. Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
The solutions will present themselves along the way.
Yes.
So it's when you do that, it cuts through a lot of the noise.
It does.
And you can just focus.
It's the fire that you need to become who you're supposed to be, And it's when we skirt away that we miss out. And you don't know what you're going to find when you step into those, when you need to be brave, or you need to have courage. It doesn't mean that you're not freaking out, scared, anxious, like all the adjectives that describe the horrible things we're trying to avoid and numb ourselves from. But when we lift heavy, when we do the hard things and carry that heavy stuff, literally for you, but figuratively, we also do it. It shapes us. It forges us into the amazing people that God wants us to grow into. Yes. It doesn't happen when we're just sitting there. Like I'm a gardener, and so when I have a plant that's struggling, what helps it grow is actually kind of like abuse. If any of you ladies at home have one of those fig ficus, is that what I'm not good at naming my plants. I just know what it looks like. The big broad leaves, you see them inside the house, they make fake ones, right? But if you have a real one and it's struggling, just walk up to it every other day and shake the living crap out of it. Like take some anxiety out on it. And it will start to flourish. And it is, I heard one lady one time, she's like, oh, your tree's not growing fruit. I don't remember what kind of tree it was. She's like, go get a wooden baseball bat and just beat the crap out of it. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, like those storms and those things that blow through, they actually make the vegetation thrive. So we haven't had a lot of good storms. So just go hit it a couple times with a baseball bat in the backyard. But don't use a metal one because as you swing, all that reverb is going to bother you. But use a wooden one and just go beat the trunk of the tree and it'll grow better. I know that I'm using a lot of visual extremes, but those visual extremes are what stick with me when I'm, describing difficult times, There's a verse in the Bible that's one of my favorites that says, have you suffered until you've bled? And it was actually during a very difficult season of my life about 15 years ago that verse was encouragement. You haven't bled yet, so get up and keep going.
But did you die? Right?
Did you die? No, I'm not believing.
Well, it's a really good way of remembering, and the way I'd like to think of it is, your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. Oh. If you're staying in that comfort zone, you are not going to achieve what you are here on this planet to do.
I feel like I need to tell the ladies to buckle up because we're only halfway through this conversation.
I love the rabbit holes.
Buckle up. Yes, they're good. Buckle up, ladies. There's some good stuff in here today. So let's see. We're going to shift topics a little bit more lighthearted than what we got it. But I loved that. Everything we just talked about, I want to live there for a long time. But let's talk about this now. Motherhood, travel, and dreams. So you've shared that you want to travel and show your kids the world. You've shared that with me. So what's the why behind that?
The why is that this planet is a gift. It just is. People talk about the universe as if the universe is a created thing. The physical time space of it has been created, is made by our creator, but it is a gift. And if you think about the statistical likelihood of any of this actually existing, it will absolutely fry your brain of how improbable this is, anything around you right now. So it is a gift, and it is something that I want to explore as much as I can and enjoy it, because if there's one thing that the work that I do always keeps me very, very in tune with, is how little time we actually have. And it's not dark or depressing in any way. It's liberating, and it's focusing, because it strips away all of the things that are noise that keep you from doing the things. But once you realize you are out of time, you're not out of time tomorrow or next week, next year, you're out of time right now. So being able to make the most of it, that is what I want to do, and that's what I want to take them with me. If there's one thing that I see too in my practice and in conversations with people, is that they have waited too long to explore. It's like, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
Get to it now, because you don't have as much time as you think you have.
It's true.
None of us do. And I was in a coffee shop once where instead of calling your name for an order, they had a question on the wall, and the question was, "What's the name of your autobiography?" Okay, and
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
You learned a lot about people while you were waiting for them to get their orders.
Yeah.
So mine was, I thought I had more time.
Wow.
So, but it's very, I encourage people to think about it as very liberating and think, okay, use it to focus on what it is that you want to do the most. And then everything follows from that.
Yeah.
So it's just a really cool place.
Yeah. I have to share with the listeners that are not watching, that are listening, I have to share something that I'm observing as you're talking. And you probably don't even realize it. But as you're talking about these things that are so valuable and important to you and are deeply rooted in you, you're moving your feet like you're about to pick up something heavy. You're repositioning yourself in it. It's physically part of who you are. You don't have enough time. It compels you. I see now so much more deeply the work that you do with estate planning and planning for the things that are unexpected, and just the way you're talking about it in your body language. Like, this is exactly what you were meant to do, and you feel so deeply rooted in the work that you do for people. It's a different level now. I'm seeing it in a different level, which is amazing. I'm so excited about this, because I don't know if you realize that you were doing that.
No, I didn't.
Producers, did you guys notice that? Yes, like this table was about to get flipped over. It wasn't. But if you're listening, because I enjoy listening more to podcasts than I do watching them. So if there's anyone driving in their car listening to this, like, Carina was positioning her feet wide, like she was about to get her core activated.
I missed that. It is just so clarifying. But yes, it is fun. So I'm very excited to keep taking them, because a lot of parents reserve the big trips for just the parents.
Without kids.
And my husband and I, God bless him, he said, no, we're going to take them. We want them to see everything that we see.
I love that.
They're good little travelers.
I love that. Of course, they have to be.
They enjoy the adventure. They have the most massive case of FOMO I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, really?
Anywhere I go that is not with them, they give me so much flack over it. They want to be everywhere.
That's good, though. So, what do you want them to grow up believing is possible? I think you answered that you said something very poignant. I wanted you to revisit it and say it again.
That everything is possible.
Everything is possible.
Everything and anything is possible. Everything is figure outable. Don't be afraid. But if you're going to be afraid, do it anyway.
I love that. That's actually the title of my autobiography. She did it anyway.
I love that.
That is the title of it. I haven't started writing it, but
She did it anyway.
She did it anyway. We'll see.
I can't wait to read it.
I haven't typed the first word, but maybe I need to start. All right, now we're actually made it to the lightning round.
Okay.
Let's
go.
Here we go. So let's see. What's a book or quote that stayed with you lately?
So a book that has really stayed with me for over, about a year now. My friend Angie recommended it to me, was The Surrender Experiment.
Okay.
And a lot of it was really about how everything you do, there's a little bit of a leap of faith involved. And it could be the smallest thing, but that leap of faith will turn into something else and take you something else and take you something else. And when you look back, if you surrender to it, you have a lot of times you have to think very carefully about it. You have to oftentimes pray over it.
Yes.
But when you are taking that leap of faith, it is going to lead to amazing places. And so if you approach it from that perspective, a lot of times things that look like challenges, sometimes insurmountable challenges, you sit down and say, okay, no, what can we learn from this? Where can we take this? How can we pivot? And inevitably, it always is. I'm a very deep believer that everything is working to your good.
Yes.
So, yeah, surrender experiment.
Surrender experiment. Okay. So what's one thing you wish more women in business knew?
Nobody has it figured out, and everyone's doing it afraid.
Me too. And if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
I know what I want, but I also know why I'm not allowed to have it.
Okay.
Okay. So I know that you're a DC universe.
No, I'm all superheroes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't discriminate.
I know you love Wonder Woman.
I do. Yes, because I idolized her when I was little. Linda Garner. Yeah, she was the best.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I find the superpower that I would want is basically what Doctor Strange is able to do. And a lot of it is that interdimensionality, or being able to see different timelines, being able to see second, third, fourth, fifth order effects of whatever this one action is. And being able to see the interconnectedness of what each person's little decisions are in the aggregate. So I would love to see that. But at the same time, I know I'm not allowed to have that. Because can you imagine the paralysis by analysis that would come from that? And so you would never actually do anything.
Right.
If you just sat there and thought about all the possible ramifications of things. So that is, I would love to be able to see the connectedness of all of the tiny little decisions that happen every day and the ripple effects that it has. And so here's the thing. I know that I'm going to be able to see that, just not yet. So I think that is part of when you pass, you get to see that. And that's exciting. A little stressful, exciting, because it really makes you think about everything that you do.
Yes.
Because of those absolute, what do they call the butterfly effect, or that ripple effect. So yes, I would love to be like Doctor Strange, but I'm not allowed to have that power yet, and that's probably a good thing.
I believe you'd use it for good. I believe you would. Carina Della Torre is the most level-headed person in any room. She doesn't rush to speak. She listens intentfully, thoughtfully. You'll often find her with her arms crossed, fingers resting gently on her chin, quietly absorbing every detail. Not to respond, but to truly understand. She notices things most people miss. She remembers things I've said in passing, things I barely remember myself, and brings them back to me with clarity and care. She sees patterns. She hears what's not being said. And when she does speak, you listen, because there's always weight behind her words. Carina is loyalty personified. She's fiercely protective of the people she cares about and immovable when it comes to her values. Integrity isn't something she performs, it's something she lives. I've never once heard her speak poorly of anyone. But if you speak the truth, even the hard kind, she'll be the first person to agree with it. She is a boundary holder in the best way, the kind of woman who reminds the rest of us that you can lead with strength and softness, with stillness and steel. She leads by example, quietly, consistently, powerfully. Carina doesn't need a spotlight, but I think it's time we shine one on her.
You got me.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you too. If you loved this episode, share it with a friend, tag me on Instagram at Wonder Women Who Build, and let me know your favorite takeaway. If you're looking for a trusted estate planning partner anywhere in the United States, or someone to remind you what it means to lead with grace and grit, Carina's your gal. Carina, tell people how to find you.
Well, you can find us on all of our socials at Tower Law Group. And if you're here in Oviedo, we're not far from Oviedo High School, so we're just around the corner from a lot of people. Catch us on social media, come to one of our Wine and Wheels events, and have a great time.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's great.